Okay. Okay. Hi everybody, it's me. And today, if you live in the United States, if it's 50 states, or it's one federal district, or it's multiple territories, then today is Thanksgiving. Now, many different countries celebrate Thanksgiving. Libya does, so does Canada, and many other ones. And many of them probably have a similar story. But the United States version of Thanksgiving, and I'll tell the story, usually how it's told, and then I'll show how my family has Thanksgiving. Now, okay, Jordan says, in 1621, some say it was 1620, according to Wikipedia it was 1621, well, give or take. I really don't know if the people were, don't know if the dates, the date's never given, but people can say it was probably November. Would say it was November, okay, but the date, no one really knows the date, but they say the year was 1620 AD or 1621 AD, one of the two. Now, a bunch of immigrants, because that's what they were, immigrated from England to what would be the European England or North American colonies at one point. The United States wouldn't be founded into one year later. Give or take, the United States would not be founded until many years later, though. These people decided that they wanted to start a new life. Granted that there was going to be a lot of limitations. Granted that they were going to leave a lot of people and a land and a country, and that the government and the country and people that they knew, to go somewhere they didn't know. That place would be leaving Europe, leaving England, and traveling to what was just North America. No country or colony was established. There were colonies in the past, there were settlements in the past, but none of them really lasted that long. When the European Englanders would come to North America for the second time, it would hold. It would not be like the Jamestown, where it would only be there for a while and then they'd go back. When they came, a lot of people died. Some from starvation, some dehydration, others from hypothermia, others from illnesses and diseases. So when they got there, it was already late fall. And usually in late fall, the weather is winterish. So a lot more of them died that way. Now, the natives that lived in that area, the native North American Americans, or if you're in Canada, the First National North American Canadians. The First Nation North American Canadians, depending on which way you look at it. They would establish a colony, what would be called Plymouth, Massachusetts, United States. Now, a lot of them did not know the territory, a lot of them were unfamiliar with the land, and as I mentioned, a lot of them did die from illnesses, diseases, hypothermia, dehydration, starvation, and some of them also, other people, so they weren't really in the best condition when they got there. For those who survived the journey, that was the only first step. They had to travel for a very long time. Back then, wind boats did not get you there quick. You got there very slowly, so they took a long time. They may have left England with, say, September, maybe October. It may have taken them, maybe even August. No one really knows exactly when they left, but they know when they got there was probably November. They started building houses. They started trying to hunt for food, but weren't very good at it. Some of the native North American Americans decided to be adventurous, decided to get to know these foreigners, this ethnic group that they never seen before, the Caucasians. Some of the Reds, or native North American Americans tended to stay away from them. Of course, some of them may have some of them may have remembered certain things that happened years ago with Jamestown and John Cook and his group of people, with John Smith and his people. But whatever. A group of them got adventurous, and maybe God guided them to help them. They made the choice. One day they introduced themselves, offered to become friends and help them. Well, at first they were acquaintances. As the pilgrims or the European Englander colonists got more used to the natives, and the natives got used to them, started teaching them how to hunt for food, how to plant their own food, and how to harvest it as well. 1 year later, give or take, the North American colonies were established, and there were just 14 of them at the time. But eventually those 14 colonies would become would become the United States. 1 year later, and the anniversary, many of people remembered how the hardships that they had to overcome, and how God helped them overcome those hardships that Lucifer threw at them. And many of them remembered those who died and didn't make it. Well, in 1621 AD, a messenger was sent out. Now, one of the natives by the name of Squanto, that was his name, I believe, or according to many of the journals that people found, was told that there would be a great feast of thanks. Then, when this message went out, the natives decided it was a good idea, and so did the European Englanders, or soon to become the first permanent North American Americans, but they didn't know it then. They all came, and they celebrated what would become the first Thanksgiving, or at least the first Thanksgiving in as far as the United States was concerned. But the story went they gave thanks to God for all the good things that God did for them. Also thanking God for their friends, for making their friends and acquaintances that helped them out during their times of need. Now, some people say that is where the story kind of ends. Well, it does end there, but traditionally the Thanksgiving went on for 2 or 3 days. So instead of being 1 day, it may have been a whole week with them. But after that, the Thanksgiving holiday was started. But it would not always be in November. The holiday would be celebrated during many years of the European Englander rule, and when the United States became independent. It wouldn't be until 1979 AD that the United States Congress would pass a bill that would be signed into law by the President, declaring that Thanksgiving was a federal holiday and should be celebrated on November and the second to or Thursday in November. Generally, the second to the last or the last. Now, many people. Now that is how the story goes. At least the North American version of the story. Now, many other countries celebrate Thanksgiving, and as I mentioned, so does Canada. But I can't speak for theirs because I don't know the history of how their Thanksgiving came to be. But Canada primarily celebrates there in the first Monday in October, though. So that's it. I'm Jordan Long, and I'll see you later.